You know, what I was shown in my dream, just to briefly summarize, in this dream, I was shown our history from heaven's perspective, not man's perspective. And heaven had an entirely different perspective on U.S. history than I've ever read, ever seen anybody have. And that's why heaven thought that our Revolutionary War, we did not win. We may have kicked the British out for a while, but heaven saw the real purpose. That conflict is really becoming that nation where all men are treated, created equal, and also, and we didn't do that. And so the Civil War we didn't complete, we didn't win in that sense. But we're seeing victories from our perspective. They're saying, no, you don't understand what you're fighting for. And I think there are ways that you fight for these things spiritually so that you don't have to do them with a physical war. But I don't think God's people have seen those, have even begun to use our divinely powerful weapons that are far more powerful than guns or cannons or anything else. But anyway, the conflict will continue. I think it's been a continual one in some ways. Both a civil war, many ways the Revolutionary War was our first civil war. You know, most of the battles were Americans fighting Americans, not British. One of the biggest battles, King's Mountain, there was only one British soldier on the entire field.
Really?
It was Americans fighting Americans. And so it was kind of our first Civil War, and the Civil War was our second Revolutionary War. It was an extension of that, things that not settled. Well, we've got to understand, what does victory look like? Well, anyway, in this dream, I could see our history as I walked from my left to right. History moved, went forward with me, and I was trying to get to the end so I could see, what does the end look like? And what I saw was written in script, this fiery script. The Second American Revolution / Civil War is inevitable. It is right, and it will be successful. So since then, I've been seeking the Lord. Okay, at that time, I would have said it's not inevitable. I would have said, we've had bigger crises and divisions in our country before, of course, Civil War being one, but we worked through them, so we can still work these things out. But that dream settled for me. I saw, no, this is inevitable. It will happen. But how big it's going to be, how costly it's going to be, is yet to be determined, I believe, by our obedience. I'm talking about God's people. If my people, who are called by my name, not the heathen, but if God's people would rise up and become and what they're called to be and do what they're called to do, I think this can be worked out relatively inexpensively in lives and costs. But what does right look like from heaven's perspective, not ours? And I may know what I think victory should look like. I immediately started questioning that. I want to see not only our history, I want to see our present from heaven's perspective, from the Lord's perspective. And then, successful. It will be successful. What does heaven's definition of success look like? But since then, I've spent days and days seeking him on understanding further. I've gotten some further understanding. But the timeline, I had no timeline. But I felt like this is going to unfold maybe 30 years, maybe what. That's my personal thinking. This is where we're headed if we don't change our direction. But there were some things I was given as like markers in time. When you see this happening, you're at this point. Well, to my shock, those things start happening right away. We are really headed that way much faster than I thought possible, honestly.